Hi, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be telling you a little bit about my morning routine in the homeschool sense. Now, of course, I'm not getting up and jumping in to homeschooling, so please be aware of that. This really is just how we get the morning going with our homeschool day. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Because I do have extra students that I only have for a certain amount of time, we start our day at 9 o'clock. We start the homeschool day at 9 o'clock. Preferably if I can get a little bit beforehand, I will, just to try to get a little bit more time to me. But definitely by 9 o'clock, that is the latest I can start. I start by opening up with our memory verse. We have memory work, and right now we are doing Psalm 1:1, so I have it on a 3x5 card, and this is, boys, you're a little loud. This is, page protector, and inside this page protector are all the different poems that we have been memorizing. So we have our memory verse, we have our poem, and we kind of open up with that. Sometimes I will go back and I'll say, okay, let's tell me what this verse is, and it'll be a random one from weeks past. Or I will say, okay, I want you to tell me this poem, you to tell me that poem, and you to tell me this poem. Or in that sense, in Bible verses, okay, tell me this poem. That way we're hearing it and we're remembering it. So this year, we've been doing Robert Louis Stevenson. I was hoping to have, at this point, moved on to a different one. But we are really enjoying him a lot, so I might just keep him going for the whole year, just memorizing certain poems. After that, we go into our Bible curriculum. I've shared with you Confessions of a Homeschooler, and we were going to be doing Jesus Freaks, but I ended up putting that aside just because it was really hard for everybody to kind of follow along. I don't understand. It might have just been a season. I don't know, but I ended up acquiring this one, which is something that I had really been wanting. And so we ended up moving into this one, and everybody is really, really enjoying it. And so that is our Bible. We'll pull this out. I would personally like to bring more actual Bible into it. But at this point, it's kind of what it says. Who is God? How we can find Him in Bible verses. And that works out really well. And to be honest, my job in teaching the other students isn't so much teaching them about God as it is the other academics, and this is just a part of it. So I use Bible with my children a little bit later, but this is all about the morning routine. So I do that, and then from there we'll go into prayer. I always ask if anybody has something that they want me to pray about, and it's a great time. Now at this point, sometimes we'll pull out this book that I have here, and this is what I've been using for our picture study. And maybe while I'm reading a little bit about, let's say, Mary Cassatt, I'm having them look at the different pictures and kind of noticing things. And I literally keep this up on one of those art easels, and it's always just right in front of our eyes. It's right there. The table is right here, and sometimes I'll just be like, oh, that was a really neat whatever. So that's part of our day, but sometimes I will pull this out and kind of have them pass it around and look at it while I read maybe a blip about Mary Cassatt. So that's not every day, but this and this is every day. And then this is just kind of maybe how at least once a week is my goal. Alright, at that point I'm going to offer them to pull out any coloring that they want to do, and this is really just to keep their attention while I do our history reading. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just take notes, sometimes they'll pull out Legos, and it really is just open-ended, but I do want to make sure they have their full attention on what is happening. Now, a couple things I've been using for history. I did those videos. I will link them above and below, if I remember above. And those are more of what I created with our history curriculum. And for the most part, I've been able to follow that pretty good. But I was getting to a point where it was good to have a week-by-week direction than I didn't have. And when somebody was offering this as a trade for some knitted dishcloths, I took them up on it. And I don't read this to them. I kind of use this as a supplement for me. And this one just has, basically, it has the week-by-week layout and the day-by-day plan. And I basically just kind of use that as what we're doing. But to be honest, I found that this was kind of stressing me out. But I do pull this out from time to time just to kind of get an idea of what we're doing. And right now, I don't remember what homeschool week we're on. I don't remember. If I remember, I'll leave it here. But we're heading in, we're doing Lewis and Clark. And I found this one at the thrift store for 50 cents. And so I'll hand it to them and I'll be like, okay, try to figure out where we are. So I have a little thing here, and as we read, we figure it out. Again in the morning, and then I go into our read aloud. And we are currently reading Of Courage Undaunted Across the Continent with Lewis and Clark. I don't know if I had put this in that video, by the way, because I ended up getting this later on when Beautiful Feats had a deal going on. So this is our Lewis and Clark, and I use that history that I wrote as well as this guideline, and they're coloring, and I'm reading it, and it usually goes from, the Bible and everything is from about 9 to 9:30. That's the Bible, that's our memory work, and any prayer requests, anything like that, that's from about 9 to 9:30. Yes?
Nothing.
Okay, and then about 9:30 to 10:15, I try not to do more than 40 minutes, so it's usually about 10:10. That time I'm reading, and I'll stop at random intervals and be like, okay, tell me what happened, and I'll try to pick each one for a child to tell me. We've also been using this one. I, again, found this at the thrift store for $1. And this is a beautiful book. If you can get this, I highly recommend, because we are going through the presidents. The next one will be James Madison and the War of 1812. And we'll start this, today is Monday, and we'll probably start this on Thursday. We'll be going into the War of 1812. It's that simple, and then we break out, and then we do handwritten work. That way we kind of break up some of the intensity of listening and paying attention, and then actually doing something. And that, at that point, we cover grammar and spelling and handwriting and any projects that maybe we do, like we made a Lewis and Clark journal, so we covered that, and we just do a lot of that. From that point on, I'm also trying to make sure the younger ones, because that's more independent work. Did I mention grammar? I think we do grammar too. At that point, I'm trying to get the little ones occupied, and of course at this point their energy levels are really high, and I know the older ones need me to guide them, but I need to figure out how to keep the younger ones kind of their energy channeled. I'll try to send them outside. I'll try to create the snack. I'll try to maybe pull out some toys or something for them. And that's that. And then about 11:20, 11:30, we'll all congregate together again, and we sit down and we do our science, which I don't have here, but it's the Apologia Science. And that is really my morning routine. After that, we're done. Things like Shakespeare, we try to get those in, and that's just not every day. That's just as I can find time to do it. If our grammar goes really smoothly, then that's great. We'll have more time for Shakespeare. And it really is a day-by-day thing. We haven't done nature study as a group. That kind of ends up being a lot of like our poetry tea time. The morning I really focus on the schoolwork